In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the front brakes on this Subaru Forester. Let's get into it. We're going to remove the wheel, use a 19mm socket, take the lug nuts off. Slide the wheel off. Remove the two caliper bolts. I'm going to use a 14mm socket. Using a pry bar, just going to compress the caliper a little bit. Just pry in between the caliper and the rotor, just a little. And then underneath, pry the caliper off. Using a brake caliper hanger, we're going to hang it from the coil spring. Make sure there's no tension on the brake hose. Take the brake pads off. I'm going to take the caliper bracket bolts out. Use a 17mm socket. And for the top one, I'm going to use a wrench because this other bolt is in the way a little bit. You can use a 17mm wrench to take that off if you need to. All right, take those bolts out, slide the bracket off, and remove the rotor. If you have to, if it's stuck on there, you can hit it with a hammer. Just try not to get the studs. And there is two threaded holes. You can put some screws in there, try to push the rotor off. I'm just going to use a wire brush, clean up some of the rust buildup on the hub surface. I'm just going to coat this with anti-seize. It's just a spray, just a thin coat. That's good. Take the rotor, slide that on backwards using some brake parts cleaner and a rag. Wipe down the rotor, turn it around, and we'll clean this side. And wipe it down. That's good. Just to help keep the rotor on there, I'll just put a lug nut on. Just make it easier installing the brakes. We'll clean up the caliper bracket. Just use a straight blade screwdriver. Take the caliper pad, slides off. And clean up the bracket. Just use a wire brush. Take a little silicone, just a thin coat. Silicone brake lubricant. And take the new pad clips. Slide those in place. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Put the clips on. And we want to take the pins out. Take that out, wipe this off. If it's real bad, you want to use some brake parts cleaner and clean out the hole where the pin goes. Just silicone brake lubricant. Slide it back in. Make sure it moves good. And the boot is sealed, which it is. We'll do the same on this side. That's good. Now we can install this on the vehicle. Put the bracket over the rotor, get the bolts started. Now I'm going to torque these bolts to 59 foot-pounds. Install the brake pads. The one with the warning indicator is going to go on the inside, and it's going to be at the base of the pad. Get those lined up. That's on. There we go. That's good. Now take the caliper hanger off. Using a caliper compressing tool, compress the caliper. You're just pushing the pistons back, nice and slow. And remove the tool. Slide the caliper over the pads. Take the bolts, get the bolts started. And we'll torque those to 27.5 foot-pounds. That's good. Remove the lug nut. Install the wheel. And put the lug nuts on. Snug those down. Then I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 65 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Go back again, double check. Now we're going to pump the brake pedal. There's a little air gap in between the piston and the brake pads, about 3 or 4 times. Should be good. You want to double check the fluid level and adjust accordingly.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.